Perfect. So, personally long-awaited talk right now, we will be navigating regulation in this Fireside Chat with Professor Maume and Sarah Gramberg. Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome to our little Fireside Chat without fire though. Yeah, for very obvious reasons we can't do that here. Yes, I'm here with Sarah Gramberg from Deutsche Bundesbank. And of course, doing a little bit of background research, when you had a bit of a move last year between Bundesbank, EZB, etc., Finance Forward referred to you as Germany's most prominent, or Bundesbank most prominent fintech supervisor. So maybe just to give us a bit of introduction, who is Sarah Gramberg?
So I started to work for supervision in 2012 at BaFin. I joined short selling monitoring department, and after 3 years I decided to change the department, and I started to kind of dive in supervision. I supervise financial institutions, and the first question was, why is there nothing online? Why do they only offer investment on an old wooden chair and table, and you have to discuss with a guy about your investment? And my colleagues were like, yeah, because it's about money, you don't invest your money online. So a few months later, we got the first application for robo-advice, and so I started to dive into the fintech topic, and so that's how I became the fintech supervisor, because I was really enthusiastic about innovation. And it was also my first contact with blockchain technology. I heard it on conferences, and I was like, okay, what is this? It's so difficult to understand. And I started to learn about it. And then I decided to move to Munich, and BaFin and Bundesbank work together in supervision. It's like a team. And so I was like, hey colleagues, I want to move to Munich. Do you have a position for me? And they were like, yes, please come here. We are happy to have you here with your experience. And I was like, okay, now I just supervise normal financial institutions, but after a few months there was a new topic. It was crypto custodian supervision. So again, there was a fintech topic, and they were like, yeah, Sarah, you have experience with the fintech industry and also with new technologies, can you supervise these guys? And I was like, yeah, sure, it's very exciting. And for example, it was one of the Munich companies, we also have them here, it's Tangany. It was one of the first applications for crypto custodians. And and then we had a question from EBA, not ECB, it was EBA, European Banking Authority. They built the crypto regulation MiCAR, and they were looking for people who have experience in this topic. And so I was like, yes, I will apply. And I was seconded for 6 months and worked at EBA on the practical, like how you really work with a MiCAR. I wrote a handbook for the supervisors.
So yeah, well, that quote with investing money online, that definitely did not age well. But so you are in a very rare position that you know a lot of these supervisory agencies. But coming from fintech perspective, probably everybody first thinks of BaFin. And then when we talk about MiCAR and crypto, then maybe the European Commission, and then we have ESMA and the ECB with their technical standards that are still not really there, etc., etc. But how does Bundesbank fit into this overall picture? I could imagine that a lot of people are not really aware what Bundesbank actually does in this whole crypto space. Could you just...
Yeah, I think it has a good and a bad side as well, because if you are less prominent than, for example, BaFin, there's also an advantage if you have like a crisis, not everybody is pointing at you, and also the reputation risk is smaller. It's the same if you are a service provider or if you are the company working with your clients. So everybody is looking at the bank, not at the service provider. And it's the same a bit, it's a kind of a Bundesbank decision to stay a bit, to hide a bit from the public, but there's also a change now. They are now more looking forward to make it more public, also to get new people to work for us, because we are also always looking for new colleagues. And so Bundesbank is a supervisor by law. So there's in the German law, KBG and so on, they say it's BaFin and Bundesbank supervising financial institutions, payment institutions, crypto institutions. So it depends on the law who we supervise, and also what are the responsibilities of BaFin and also of Bundesbank.
It's good to be maybe a little more specific. So what exactly, which cases, for example, does Bundesbank become active? Which kind of applications and which areas? So what are use cases, one of these things that people like calling?
So we are really involved in everything. So if you are supervised, you always have someone at Bundesbank and you always have someone at BaFin, and also money laundering someone else, and for WPHG, so it really depends on the law you are working on. But for me, for example, now financial institutions, payment institutions, crypto institutions, we get the application for the license. I check the CEO, I check the ownerships, I check the business model, I check the accounting, and especially the accounting is more a Bundesbank topic, and BaFin is more into Wohlverhaltensregeln after WPHG, so it's more a compliance thing. So it's more by the law what each authority is looking for.
So is it clearly segregated, or do you also look at what the others are doing, or is that a question that should be asked?
No, it depends. For example, for credit institutions like banks, it's really there's one guy responsible for the CEO and the other is more for the accounting. But for the smaller institutions, sometimes double check. Like for example, if I check if the CEO is able to be a CEO of financial institutions, it's not only my decision or BaFin decision. We decide together.
Mm-hmm. And so the most prominent topic right now is probably from the community's perspective, MiCAR. And you mentioned as well that you already had your hand in it when you were on secondment. Yeah. So what exactly are you doing in terms of MiCAR? So which applications also go to the Bundesbank table?
All the crypto custodians, all the crypto service providing stuff. I think the only thing is, which is only a BaFin topic, is asset reference token, and also the white paper is more a BaFin topic, because e-money token are from the payment institutions, and payment institutions are also supervised by Bundesbank.
So then, practically, do you see, what is your take or your impression of the market right now? What is happening? Are people basically kicking in the doors to get licenses, or are they going to other countries? Because there are these rumors, funny that you mentioned that. BaFin is usually more the crossfire and the criticism, and Bundesbank is more a step back. We could see that in the Wirecard scandal very, very well when it comes to these trading halls, etc., etc. But do people go elsewhere, or do they come to the German supervisors?
I think it depends. So we have some German companies who stay in Germany and go for the German license process. And I always say, made in Germany, there's a meaning again. I know that we have high standards, but it's also a high responsibility. We have a reputation risk, and we really take it serious. So I think it is a bit more difficult in Germany than compared to other countries, but it's also different. So if my aunt asked me where to invest my money, and there's a company from a different country and from Germany, I would advise to go to the German supervised company. It's your decision. It's like, don't see it from an institution perspective, see it from a private perspective. What would you advise for your family? Like Cyprus, I don't trust them as much.
Of the Dutch.
Yeah. So I think there are some companies who are just like, I just want to earn money and I want to have it easy, and I want easy supervisor, and then there are some countries easier than Germany. I would say for sure there were some problems in the past that we were a bit too slow, and it's also something I don't like. I was always kind of pushing for faster regulation, and institutions I supervised were quite happy, and I think this is also a reason for the newspaper article, because they were quite pushy with me. And I think it's also important, as I see it from a German perspective, to have some innovation in Germany, but it's also kind of a law. So it's not only BaFin, Bundesbank, it's also the BMF, the financial minister, who has to build the regulation to make it faster. And also, for example, now they changed the regulations that you are able to do English applications. So it's quite new, I think it's 1 year old. And before it wasn't, so me as a supervisor, I was able to say, no, it's in English, I don't know it. So now I'm kind of pushed because of the regulation to accept it, and I think this is quite a good step forward for Germany. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going one step further now. If I inform in the right way, then the prospectuses and white papers will be in English now as well. I think that's just a little on the table right now.
Yeah, that's more a MiCAR topic as well, because EBA is quite involved in MiCAR supervision, and they want to be able, if it's a bigger one and they have to supervise, yeah, it's not helpful.
Yeah, they even the latest for the, not FinMatic 2, but the next ZuFin, so the second Zufinanzierungsgesetz, that even prospectuses, etc., will be in complete English, but that's not exactly our topic. But so can you say how many applications you have in terms of, or is that something that shouldn't really be said in public, or there's maybe even different divisions?
I don't have a number. Coming back to your initial question, so in my perspective, the people are kind of waiting right now, what's really happening, how big is the topic, and I also, when I talk to friends from credit institutions, I know that they stopped investing in these area and crypto assets and everything. They are more like kind of waiting also, I think also how the economy in Germany is going. So it's not like a big topic and everybody is waiting for MiCAR and wants to start as soon as possible. It's more like, is it really a topic? How big is the topic? What is the adaptation?
And the German law is not there yet.
Yes.
So for reasons that I do not understand, because I was told that it was ready to go in June, and then, still not on the table. So, from a regulator's perspective, I mean, the crypto community, it has become better, but always had a bit of a reputation of being, well, surfer dudes, not taking regulation seriously. We have applicants say, oh, BaFin, and only BaFin takes too long, and then say, yeah, you don't even have a proper solicitor to work on your case, etc., etc. What would you say? Has the scene become better? Do you see any changes there yet?
Yes. No? There's always a change. It was
you've been for quite a few years now, which is rare.
But I think it's the same with the fintech industry. I remember with the fintechs, one of my bosses was like, oh, I'm pretty surprised they are not working in a garage.
Well.
They have a real office, it's big, and they are so many, because usually a financial institution are like 5 people or 10, and there were 70, and he was like, wow, now I understand why they have $1 million funding and everything. Before they were like, why don't they earn money? Why do they get so much funding? Why do they have like such a nice terrace on the roof?
Yeah, I mean, that's a general problem. Yeah, so because I mean, we are talking about Beamte, as with all cliches, so state-run state officers, etc., and understanding the business model. So, for example, I've heard that in BaFin there is a case officer who's dealing with payment services who would never use a credit card because he or she doesn't like it. I mean, that's not exactly a good starting point there. But from a regulator's perspective, do you have some hot takes, some do's and don'ts when dealing with the regulator?
Yes. So they are all human. We have no guns.
Yeah.
So speak up, like just talk to them. I think it's always helpful to have a trustful relationship to the supervisor and don't be too afraid, but also to be honest. I think there is a development. You have more people in the market who are aware of regulation and also who see the positive side and the advantage of regulation. And you can't. So if you plan to be supervisor, or if you're planning supervised business, you have to understand regulation. What is the advantage of regulation? And also, it's also helpful for your business to be aware of your risks, for example. It's not so like. Don't go to the supervisor like, oh, it just costs money. Yes, it is part of the business, but it's helpful. Regulation is helpful for a consumer, but also for the business to have a sustainable business. And if you have this in mind, you're kind of, and be respectful with the supervisors. I think this shouldn't be, I shouldn't have to mention this, but I know cases where there were the institutions like, I don't care, it's only the supervisor, I have a big business, I have millions of funding, I don't have to deal with these guys. Yeah, but we can do some stuff to slow down, and yeah, if you want us to be your friends, so it's like police. I'm not rude to the police officer.
Yeah, to be fair, and I've heard. I mean, I'm also in contact with like people from the practitioner side, and they can also sing a song that certain supervisors are not overly helpful. So, but that's probably usually more like a personality thing, I'm guessing. So it runs probably both sides of the family. Yeah, but. Maybe if you take a step ahead, I mean, I've given a talk today on stablecoins, and I think Patrick Hansen is having a panel on that one as well. What do you think will change? I mean, we've talked about crypto custody, and stablecoins is a big topic. Do you think that Germany is able to become a hub for crypto custody in these services? And do you think that stablecoins, do you think it will work? Because a lot of people say it won't.
I think the technology will work, and I think there will be use cases with the technology with these kind of stable coins, because these are the currency to use the technology. So I think there will be business cases, and it will work. I think the regulation is too big for something that's not going to work.
So it's a political thing.
No, it's more like a logical thing, because it already came so big that we had a use case to regulate it. So I would say it's already growing. Why should it stop?
Do you have stablecoin applications? Are you involved in that one?
No.
Not at all. Okay. Of course, it's the ART there with it. Of course. Sorry, it was not exactly a smart question. I'm sorry for that. But maybe a quick question: do we have any questions from the audience at this point? I mean, this is not just supposed to be a.
Yeah.
I've got one. This was coming up actually at an earlier talk here. The question is, do you happen to know who is actually going against the non-EU players servicing the EU market?
I know that it is discussed at EBA, because we discussed that who's responsible to go for someone. And it depends, because in the end, if you are a token issuer and you offer to Germany, Germany is responsible. So I think it will be like one country where it pops up, and they are responsible.
But the problem is that none of these actually target one specific EU country. They simply target everything.
In English.
Yeah, they target everything, but like it doesn't pop up like not tomorrow. It pops up in every country. Usually they start in one country. I think okay. Yeah, but I know that this is an EBA topic as well, and also all the NCAs are in contact at EBA. There are some like meetings where they discuss stuff like this. Also applications. When we have applications who are like, okay, we just talk to every country, they are discussing it on a round table. So don't go to every country, they are talking to each other.
So are there like roundtables on the Bundesbank levels, on the equivalents?
Bundesbank level, BaFin level, European level. On the European level are quite a few. I think there are right now at least 3 roundtables just about the crypto topic. So there's one MiCAR, there's one crypto, and there's one supervision.
Any further questions?
Nobody has one. I've got another one. What is your take on like the countries like Czech Republic having thousands CAS filings currently? What is your expectation how that will resolve in 2025?
I don't know. We have to ask Czech colleagues for this. I mean, it's a small country. I don't know if they have so many people who are able to work on it.
I mean, it's a problem. I mean, I know this from talks from people with BMF. I mean, they are really afraid of this. They're really afraid of people basically getting their vanilla envelope licenses in some other country, and then with passporting, we basically have these companies here, and that is a problem, and it's also a political one.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Because you know that you have the set deadlines in MiCAR, right? So they need to answer, and I don't see how they will going to manage that.
Yeah, but I would say from an EBA perspective, there's a minimum standard you have to comply, and because in the end, if they are too big, they are supervised from EBA itself, and they don't want like the full scam from the country who was just not able to supervise.
I mean, the problem. I mean, we know the mechanism from the MiFID regime. Yeah, so that's not too different on paper at least. But what would the approach, for example, be if we, for example, realize in Germany, whether BaFin, Bundesbank, practitioners, whoever, that there are, let's say, coming faulty licenses from somewhere, or bad licenses, or whatever you call it, but licenses that obviously are not being granted by standard. What do we do then? I mean, that's not just a Bundesbank question. I mean, I have no answer for that, but what do we do then? Is that to be addressed on the political level, on the EU level, on the roundtable level?
EU level, because they complied to the regulations, they complied to follow the regulation. So they, if you don't follow European regulation, I think there's.
Yeah, but you can follow. I think this is what this is aiming at. You can follow the regulation on paper, but maybe you do not look as closely on fit and proper, etc., etc. Don't look as closely. I know that, for example, BaFin has a reputation of looking at the business case in a lot of detail, for which they've been criticized sometimes, just saying. So you can make it look like a proper MiCAR application, but it doesn't have the substance at the end. Formally, yes, but materially, probably not. What do we do then? I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I think there will be discussion on a European level for sure.
Yes, it is maybe the same. We saw it with the Data Protection Act, we saw it with the regulation of the fintech companies and with Ireland case, and now I guess we see the similar case with maybe another country. It already was mentioned. So again, you think it's a political discussion, how we want to have a level playing field, which is the same in all European countries, or we will never have
but the difference compared to MiCAR and MiFID is that one is a directive and one is regulation, and this is the big difference who makes a change.
Okay. On paper probably, but maybe looking at it from a positive way, maybe this is being resolved by the market, because I know from basically how it was until now, so we're leaving the Fire Chat format a little bit here, that people, okay, they have the licenses, but all of a sudden they are not going through any compliance system of banks they want to work together with, they have issues opening bank accounts, etc., because these market participants know that there is a problem as well. So maybe this is going to be addressed through the non-MiCAR way, but through the market, but this is a very, very, I would say, positive.
Yeah, but there's also a responsibility level on the NCA level, so if there's an NCA who's just not following MiCAR, there will be also, so there are, I think there are some possibilities on a European level to go for it and to point on these guys.
Because I think it's tempting. You can attract businesses, you can attract, well, industry whatsoever by, let's not keep the level as high as maybe the Dutch or the Germans or whoever is doing it. And so it's basically, and we've seen that on the European level as well. I mean, the Apple tax case is, tax case is actually a good example for that. So maybe we see about that. But what do you see as maybe the biggest, from a regulator's perspective, greatest impediment or problem right now in the crypto space? Is everything on track, or do we still need more or something else?
You mean more regulation?
More regulation, different regulation, market structures, fund, whatever. What comes to your mind?
Yes, I would hope for a bit more open-minded on a regulation and political side. Like, I mean, we have the blockchain strategy in Germany, and I don't really see an impact from this. And also there was something with fintech in the Koalitionsvertrag, and I don't really see a difference from before. So I think it would be nice to really invest in innovation and technology. And for regulation, I think we have to wait how it goes under MiCAR. But I can promise you there will be MiCAR too.
Yeah, it's in the regulation. So.
And then I can also just ask you to involve in regulation. You have the possibility and also kind of the responsibility to follow consultations and make your points during these times to really change something. So this is two regulations from place. Yeah, and I hope for nice business models. Like really, like from a consumer perspective, I think it's nice to have something different to a Bausparvertrag.
Well, that's true. I mean, I always think that let's say the killer application is lacking. If I need to explain, for example, to my students why these things are awesome, if I need to start explain for 5 minutes, and here comes the point where they say, oh yeah, I mean, this is probably not the best selling proposition. Probably not.
Yes. Follow up, is the industry not really good in taking actions, talking with the regulators on the national and European level, as maybe the banking sector is in a neutral way in influencing the regulation?
In my opinion, the banking lobby is much stronger than a fintech or crypto lobby because it's old. It's an old business, it's a big lobby, they are important for Germany. I think on the German level, it's quite good how they talk to the regulator, and I know that we have the fintech part, or I think now they have a new name, but so there are at least some context between BMF, BaFin, and the market participants. But when I joined EBA, I was kind of surprised. It was payment institutions or crypto institutions, but still there were just, I didn't see any German company on the Excel sheet who is talking to EBA. And I mean, the German market is quite big compared to the smaller countries, and also not just like, for example, in France you only have Paris, so everything happens in Paris. It's easy to talk to each other. And this is also special in Germany, and I know that there are always discussions, what is the fintech spot, or what is, I mean, yes, we have Berlin with innovation and startup, but some people say fintech is more a Frankfurt topic, some say no, it's a Munich topic. So, yeah, and other guys are like, no, it's a Berlin topic again. So it's not even one city which is responsible for fintech. And so I think on the European level, there's room for improvement to talk to the legislators.
Yes, you said you would welcome new use cases as an alternative for the Bausparvertrag. So in my mind there came up staking. So I think it's a very interesting thing, and do you think that, what's your opinion on that, your both opinion, and is the regulator looking at it, and are there discussions how to regulate this staking protocols for end customers, for example?
Yeah, I know that the regulator is talking about it, because I remember already 1 year ago we discussed all this staking topic, but I don't know the final decision. But the staking itself, I think it's a good opportunity for a business model, but it's not like I get advertisement for now invest here with staking. You can get more money, it's easier, unique user experience, so it's more, I know it exists, but it's not as famous as a Bausparvertrag.
Yeah, it's exactly the same problem. I mean, if you need to explain to someone what staking is, I mean, after the third sentence, most people will probably say, thank you very much, but where's the Bausparvertrag? Yeah, so, although Bausparvertrag is by no means simple, let's face it.
One question on staking, for example. Could Germany theoretically go ahead in front of the other member states and become more competitive to attract business? Or will everything again go into MiCAR 2 then for everyone?
I think there's someone better interested in the staking topic than me.
Sorry, didn't get the question.
No, I just meant from your perspective as a regulator. If you go ahead, take something that is not yet regulated, for which you are going to use MiCAR 2, could you in the meantime go ahead and become a hub for the business that seeks that?
As far as I know, staking is kind of regulated, or at least it's discussed under which regulation it is. So it's not like a completely unregulated field.
I think staking itself is not regulated, but usually the attached businesses to it, like custody or whatsoever, are usually regulated. So it's very difficult, it's my understanding, but maybe you can say something about that. It's very difficult to find a really use case, a business model that is it's only focusing on stuff that is not regulated, but maybe you have other ideas there.
Nina has something to say there.
Yeah, I would say staking as a service is clearly regulated, right? So if you offer to stake on behalf of consumers, then obviously you're into the MiCAR regulation, right? If you do staking completely on your own, that's not regulated, but actually the mass out there is not capable of doing that. So they need service providers, and they are regulated.
Okay. Any further questions? Because we're actually approaching the 30-minute mark.
Since it's from a supervisor's perspective, is there any direction on where supervision is going to go regarding non-compliance in cases? Because I know that the BaFin in many cases has been actually kind of accepting of non-compliance as long as in the future there's compliance. So you were pretty much able to approach BaFin and say, well, we might have been non-compliant, but here's our way forward, these are working. And surprisingly, quite often the BaFin has accepted that, even though there might even be a criminal case there. Is there direction that supervision is going to go in regarding to the the blockchain space? Are you going to be open for somebody to come forward, or is the public prosecutor going to get contacted immediately?
I think this is also kind of a way to stay open for innovation, to don't just destroy a business, to offer, like you can ask for, or you can apply for a license, or you can just finish your business. And I wouldn't expect a change. As far as I know, there are no discussions like we need to be more strict about this. And I think it's also from a supervisory perspective, it makes sense, because when you close a business, you have like really like it stays with the owner and also with the CEO. So I think it's quite helpful if you want to start another business to be like with a Wild West.
Maybe to add, in the draft of the German crypto market supervisor KMAG, there is the, I don't know, I think 33, the obligation, or BaFin's in this case, obligation to forward matters to the prosecution, Strafanzeige, so Pflicht, Strafanzeige. But this duty obligation only includes the market abuse rules, like insider trading, etc., but not acting as a CASP without permission, issuing stablecoins without permission, a license whatsoever. So they are not in there. So in theory, BaFin still has the possibility to have a little more. And because I'm commenting on that, and I always wondered, so this has actually been quite fruitful for me now, why they didn't put it in there. Yeah, because it's actually so maybe that is actually the reason to give just the regulator, which would be a good thing, to give a little more leeway there to navigate and get maybe people who unwillingly or unknowingly actually breach the rules there, to get them back into the boat instead of decapitating them. But that's speculation.
It's possible.
That was very diplomatic. So we're actually exactly at the 30-minute mark now.
If you'd like to take one final question, we'd be perfectly okay with that.
So, do you have one final question? Has something?
And you can also talk to us outside.
Exactly. But if that's not the case,
do you own crypto?
Are you crypto?
If I invest?
Yes.
No, I'm not patient. I can't sleep, and I can't invest in a share or in crypto because then I can't sleep.
TUM Bausparvertrag. Okay, that's sophisticated.
Probably one last question. So why is it that every time tokens are involved in a blockchain project, it always has to go through banking regulations, even though the whole business model project is fit into the banking regulation or not?
Because you invest money, and money is a banking thing.
I mean, what I mean in general is more or less the function of blockchain project, you need to generate tokens. It doesn't necessarily have to be investment, just for a utility purpose, just to keep track of how things are run. And as soon as the tokens are generated, and if you want to launch a company, then you have to go under the supervision of all the banking regulations and such. And from what point onwards that we use separate glasses to look into projects that are completely banking based and not utility based? So what I mean is, right now I think everything is being looked by the same pair of glasses, and where do we start looking things to by a different kind of business model?
I don't understand where's the need to look into.
I mean, the need itself is, as I said, the tokens are generated in the blockchain project because they are some kind of utility. They're not really creating money out of thin air, but you just need it to keep track of things for other purposes. And when you do generate the tokens, it means that it kind of falls into the banking regulation.
No, there are also tokens who are not involved in MiCAR.
A lot actually. It's like a normal. Sorry for doing this a little longer, but it's the same in the normal world. Yeah. If I paint a picture and you like this picture, it's sold to you for 10,000 euro. Nobody cares. But as soon as I keep a big printing investment service, like I'm printing all these pictures and I'm issuing stocks or whatsoever, or some certain rights on the market that people can invest, then banking regulation kicks in. And it's exactly the same in the MiCAR and crypto space. A lot of tokens, blockchain solutions are not regulated. Why would they? But as soon as it's about something to the public with investment possibilities, then the regulation kicks in. So the logic is exactly the same as it would be without blockchain. It's exactly the same logic behind it. Okay, so on that bombshell, to quote someone who's arguably more famous than us, thanks a lot, and we'll be around. Thank you.